The night the skies over the Middle East changed began with a warning. Iran had launched missiles toward Israel. Within minutes, alarms echoed across U.S. military bases around the world. Orders came down fast. Full combat alert. Across the United States, Marines and soldiers rushed from their barracks. Gear bags, rifles, body armor. No time for briefings. They already understood what it meant. War preparations had begun. At massive air bases, runways lit up like daylight. And waiting on the flight line were the giants of the U.S. Air Force. The Boeing C-17 Globemaster III, one of the most powerful military cargo aircraft ever built, designed to move an army anywhere on Earth in hours. Inside the cargo bays, crews loaded everything needed for combat. Armored vehicles rolled up the ramps. Tactical buggies followed. Pallets of ammunition. Fuel generators. Crates packed with combat equipment. The aircraft swallowed it all. Each C-17 can carry over 170,000 pounds of cargo, enough to deploy an entire combat unit in a single flight. Nearby, maintenance crews worked under bright floodlights. Fuel trucks lined the runway. Fighter jets topped off. Missiles mounted under wings. Guided bombs carefully attached. Technicians ran full avionics diagnostics. Flight controls tested. Engines pushed to max power. Every aircraft had to be ready. Every system had to work. Because when the order came, there would be no second chances. As the sun set, tension gripped the tarmac. Rows of soldiers stood silently, waiting. Then the first transport ramp lowered. Boarding began. Hundreds of troops marched in, strapped into sidewall seats, weapons between their knees. Engines roared, one after another. The massive transports began taxiing. Then came the takeoff. C-17 thundered down the runway and lifted into the dark sky. Minutes later, another followed, then another. Soon, the night sky filled with the sound of military transports leaving American soil. Their destination, the Middle East, thousands of miles away. Hours later, the first aircraft touched down at forward bases across the region. Cargo doors opened. Vehicles rolled out. Supplies unloaded. Troops moved quickly into staging areas. But the aircraft didn't stay long. Within minutes, they were refueled, reloaded, and sent back into the air. More troops, more equipment, more firepower. The operation moved with relentless speed. Across the U.S. military network, command centers tracked every move. Satellite feeds, flight trackers, strategic maps. Everything pointed to one thing. The United States was preparing for a massive coordinated strike. The mission was called Operation Epic Fury, a joint campaign with one goal: dismantle Iran's military infrastructure, stop further missile attacks on Israel. But the buildup alone was historic. Dozens of transport aircraft, thousands of troops, tens of thousands of tons of equipment, all moving across continents in hours. This is modern military logistics. Fast, precise, overwhelming. Geopolitical context. Iran has long been in conflict with Israel and the United States. Over the past decade, tensions have escalated across the Middle East, from nuclear developments to regional proxy wars. Every missile launch, every strike is calculated, and every response is measured. When Iran fired on Israel this night, the U.S. had no choice but to respond with overwhelming force. Commanders knew the stakes. A misstep could ignite a wider conflict. And yet, the C-17s kept flying. Inside the aircraft, troops inside the cargo hold could feel the engines vibrating beneath their feet. The roar of the turbines echoed like thunder. Soldiers clutched their weapons. Some whispered prayers. Others stared silently at the ceiling, focused on the mission ahead. Down below, the desert stretched like a dark sea, waiting. The C-17s cut through the night sky, heavy with armored vehicles, ammunition, and the most advanced weapons in the world. Every minute counted. Every flight mattered. Arrival in the Middle East. When the first aircraft touched down, the operation went into full swing. Cargo doors opened. Armored vehicles rolled out onto the tarmac. Troops sprinted to their staging areas. The pace was relentless. Commanders coordinated every movement via satellite, radio, and encrypted channels. The U.S. military had executed one of the fastest large-scale deployments in modern history, building the theater. As more aircraft arrived, bases transformed, temporary command centers erected in hours, fuel supplies stacked, ammunition pallets everywhere, missiles and launch systems positioned. Every detail was planned, every action precise. This was not improvisation. This was overwhelming military power, deployed with surgical precision. The countdown. Once the buildup was complete, airstrikes would be ready. Missile launches queued. Every aircraft, vehicle, and soldier in place. The stage was set for a confrontation that could reshape the Middle East. And yet, tension remained high. Every second could change the course of history. Because when the C-17s began landing, and the armored vehicles rolled into position, the countdown to war had already started.